Hey, welcome to my channel. My name is Sarah. Thank you so much for clicking on this video. Since it is warming up and approaching the summer, I thought it would be a good time to do another self-tanning review. So I did one like 2 videos back where I tried natural method of using coffee and it just didn't produce the tan that most people would be looking for. It was very light, if anything, and it wasn't very long lasting. I've also tried out several different ones over the past couple of years and I have videos on all of those if you want to check it out in a playlist. But I saw this new one, or new to me, that I haven't seen before that I wanted to try out. And this is the Hawaiian Tropic Self-Tanning Sunless Tan Foam, and I got it in shade light, medium, dark. They also had just dark. So Hawaiian Tropic is pretty well known for their sunscreens and their SPFs. As far as I'm aware, this is the first tanning mousse that they've come out with. Again, I don't think it's new, but it's new to me, so I thought I would give it a shot. Love that Hawaiian Tropic is dermatologist tested and my favorite, cruelty-free, because I'm trying to only buy cruelty-free products. And that can be kind of hard sometimes because I am quite the forgetful person. Hey, come over here. Here's what it looks like. And I'm gonna be trying this out on camera today and then show you the results and then also show you over the course of the next few days how it fades over time and how long it lasts. This was originally $12.49 and then I bought it at Meijer and they had like a $1 coupon strapped to all of the bottles, so I got it for about $11.50 pre-tax. You can find this at the drugstore. It's drugstore prices. I know that there are so many tanning mousses out there, but as I was searching Ulta's website, a lot of them are in like the $20, $30, $40 price range, which if you are on a budget isn't always doable, especially with how often you may use a tanning mousse. I don't use it completely consistently, but if you do, I'm sure it would run out fairly quickly, and $40 per bottle is a little much for some people. So this is like every other tanning mousse where you are supposed to put it on clean, dry skin, and I did also exfoliate. And I'm gonna be using this with a tanning mitt on my body, and then for sensitive areas like the feet and hands where it tends to get a lot darker and it's harder to get an even, flawless look, I use a brush to blend it out and to apply it. And then it says to allow to dry before dressing, and you can leave it on for up to 6 hours and then you just shower it off. It does say it has aloe and vitamin E to hydrate your skin, and then it says it has a tropical scent that transports you to the islands. So I'm curious if this is gonna smell like every other self-tanner, because they all kind of have like a similar smell. It's just like a degree. So we'll have to see. If you're excited for this video, you should keep watching, subscribe to my channel, and also give it a like, and I'd really appreciate it. So let's dive right into applying. All right, so I have my mitt. It's double-sided. This is from Saint-Tropez, and I'll be using that for my hands and wrists. Okay, so it does have a color guard, which I really like. It actually doesn't smell as bad as normal, so I don't know if I would say it's tropical, but it's not super strong, which is good. I don't see a difference. I'm gonna take a little bit on the brush, that much. Bend my fingers so it can get into the cracks. And just blend that out around the wrist, then all over the hand. I'm also gonna take a little bit on the brush and then do my elbow, since that tends to get a lot of collection of product. If you're new to self-tanner, any of the areas like your elbows, knees, wrists, ankles, those all tend to have the tanner pool because they're like high bending areas. So there's a lot of cracks that you have to get in, and it's just a little bit more difficult to blend than just like on your arm. Even with this method, it can be hard to make it look flawless. It's something that like I'm constantly battling. Okay, the more I use it, the more it does just smell like a regular self-tanner. It smells like self-tanner mixed with like pineapple. So all of these self-tanners say to wash your hands after use, which you should do, but I try to just wash the palms of my hands to get off any residue because I don't want the tan to be like on my arms and then there be a stark line where there's no tanner on my hands because I washed them and then the tanner on my arm. So I try to wait like at least an hour before washing the backs of my hand. Time it so you use the bathroom prior to doing this or eating or whatever. Okay, I have to double check it in the mirror. Here's how it looks on. If you want to do it darker, you can also, once this is dry, which like this side already is, you can do a second application. But I'm gonna see how it looks after just the one. I have some ghostly looking legs, so hopefully this goes well. Okay, same thing I did with my hands. I'm gonna take some on the brush and then apply that around the ankles and the feet. So I have applied it and pretty much for the most part dry. It still feels like I could use like a few more minutes before I actually like sit down. I'm gonna leave this on, I think, for at least 4 hours, and probably around after 4 hours wash it off and see how it's developed. And sometimes even after you wash it off, it still develops a little bit more. So we will check in on that and I will see you later. Okay, so it has been about 4 hours and I did wash it off. And I can tell a difference more so on my arms. I didn't apply it on my neck, so you can tell that there is a difference because this is where I stopped. Well, it looks like I missed some when I was washing it off, so ignore that splotch. So it's definitely tanning. I'd say I notice a little bit less of a difference on my legs, but I still do see the line where I didn't apply the tanner, so it does work. When I purchased this, I was debating on buying the dark version because I feel like sometimes the light to medium ones you need a thicker application or more than one application. If this keeps developing, I will be happy. As of right now, I don't think leaving it on for 4 hours is quite enough. I think definitely leave it on for at least the 6. Something I've done with some tanning mousses, even if they don't like specifically say, is to use it overnight. So I am pretty pale, so it did give me somewhat of a tan, but I would want a little bit more payoff for going through the whole process. If I need to, I will apply a second application tomorrow, as well as just doing like a thicker one to see how long it lasts, to see if I can get it to be darker, and then I will keep it on for longer before washing it off. All right, I'm looking quite disheveled, but I'm just about to go to bed, but I just wanted to pop in here because I just showered and applied another layer, and I'm gonna leave it on all throughout the night so it gets at least 8 hours of set time. I did see a tiny little bit come off in the shower this time, but not really much. And it seems like it did develop a little bit extra even after I washed it off the other day. And I tried to put on a thicker layer, like using more pumps per like body part. So hopefully it should come out darker. And since it'll be sitting all night, I feel like that should do the trick. One thing I will note so far though is I have not noticed really any splotchiness. So it seems to be blending out well overall. It seems like it takes a little bit more time to blend on the skin. Like it doesn't want to go as seamlessly. At least the color guard doesn't. But I didn't notice like any issues, no like orange hands or problem areas like around my wrists, which usually I have at least some. So that is a good sign. I do not like the scent of it. I don't know if I mentioned that previously, but I could not wait to rinse it off. Okay, so I applied it last night, kept it on overnight, and it definitely does look darker. I will do like a full body shot, but I didn't apply it to my face. I am breaking out and I have been having issues with picking my skin, so I just don't want to put anything new on it. So, I mean, you can kind of tell compared to my face, I do have like a tinted moisturizer on. I will say I did, oh, you can really tell on camera. I did have some issues with pulling around my wrists. It's definitely worse on this one. I definitely should have moisturized beforehand and go a little bit lighter around right here. For like the first couple of weeks since I've started tretinoin, I've had a weird like dry rash on my arm. The self tanner really clung to that spot and like it's really obvious that it is self-tanner. I tried to scrub it some, but that is definitely my fault. Like you can tell this one looks much better than this one, but it is looking darker than the first time I applied it and I really like it. Does it look orange? Maybe a little bit, but I feel like it looks no more orange than it does with any other self-tanner I've tried. Like I think it looks good aside from this area right here. I don't think people would necessarily guess that this is fake self-tanner aside from it being vastly different color of my face. And I did apply it all over this time aside from my face. I even applied like some on my neck. I typically do have an issue with it pulling around my ankles and wrists, but this is like the main area. I think it actually doesn't look too bad at all on my ankles and feet. So I'd say that this does a pretty good job of blending out and not looking patchy or splotchy. So I'm going to continue to update you on how it looks as it fades over time. All right, it is bad weather today, so the lighting is going to be slightly different than it was yesterday, but overall I am liking it. It's still not a super dark tan. So I think this is something, if you're looking for a dark tan, either get the dark version instead of the light medium that I purchased, or it'll be something that you'll have to build up over a series of a couple of days. Which, you know, isn't that big of a deal. I think a lot of people do that anyways. And you kind of have to do that to maintain the tan. If you're not doing it for just like an event, if you want to like stay that tan, you kind of have to keep reusing it. You probably will notice in the film that it does look a little bit discolored around my ankles. I think it looked worse on camera, what I could see in the viewfinder, than it does in person, because I was like I was looking at the viewfinder and I was like, wait, is that what it looks like? Like I said with my wrist, definitely moisturize those areas first so it doesn't pool as much, and being more careful. I'm pretty sure I mentioned it earlier, but that is a constant struggle for me. We're gonna see how it fades over time still. All right, so it has been about 3 days since I filmed the last portion, and just please ignore my appearance. I am in fact wearing the same shirt I wore in the clip you just saw, but I wasn't wearing it for that long that day, and I'm about to exercise, so I thought I would give it one more use. I mean, I can tell on camera like the difference between my face, which I did not apply the self-tanner on, and the tan is pretty good. I actually didn't end up touching it up at all. I wanted to see how just one application looks, and I'd say it's pretty decently long lasting. Like it's been 3 days since my second application, and while it may not be as dark as it was at its darkest, but it still looks pretty good. And I can tell, I think especially on my legs, which were very white, I can definitely still tell a difference. And I think they still look pretty tan. I think it looks good. So I'd say this is wearing pretty well. From the very first application, it's been 4 or 5 days. So it seems like this might last up to a week, even if it's not necessarily like the same color. Like obviously it's a little bit lighter. I'm about to stand on this chair so I can get a good angle. But yeah, I think it looks really good so far, and I will try to show before and afters, but I'm really impressed with this. I think my legs look really good. You can tell some areas, like I was really scratching here, so you might be able to tell that there's a little bit of it like coming off, but otherwise I think it looks pretty good. Not looking too bad around the ankles either. Now that the area where it was collecting and pooling has faded some, I think it looks good. So I'd have to say that I am very impressed with this. It seems to be lasting a good while, and if I keep up with it and do it every 3 days, I'm sure I could get some great color payoff that is consistent. I personally don't think it is too orange as is, but if I were to maybe get the darker one or just like really apply this heavily, it might look a little too orange on my skin tone, since it is a lot of building up from like this to the tan. As is, I think it's wearable and I really like it. And it's cruelty free, it's fairly affordable, found at the drugstore. So I would give this like a 7 out of 10 maybe. Not my favorite, but certainly one that I could say I do recommend. So I'm going to get to exercising before it gets too late because it's 10:52 p.m. Thank you so much for watching. Leave any questions below in the comments if you have them. Why do I forget what I say at the end? Thank you so much for watching. Thank you for your support, and I will hopefully see you in my next video.